Cowboys receivers. It's a new group of receivers for the Cowboys with Dez Bryant gone, other than Cole Beasley and Terrence Williams. And of all those guys, only one of them has a 1,000-yard season, and that was Allen Hurns with 1,000-yard season. Goose's receiving corps has a lot to prove.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a kind of a come-to-Jesus moment, because there's a difference between being a lead receiver and the second guy. None of these guys have been the lead receiver. Alvin Harper discovered that. He was on the other side of Michael Irvin. Tampa gave him the big contract to be their lead guy, and he wasn't capable. All of a sudden, the defense is focused on you. You're going to generally get the best covered corner on you, and it's going to be an eye-opening experience for a lot of these guys this summer.
Yeah, I agree, but the competition is good. I like the competition, and the fact that, you know, you got a young quarterback, okay? And we don't need any overtures of talk about, you know, Romo did this with Dez, Romo threw the Dez open and all. We don't need no more of that talk. All that out the window. All these guys, all they should care about is what they can do for Dak and what Dak can do for them. And they need to be out there right now running routes and getting ready for the upcoming season and trying to get that confidence with the quarterback. And this is a young quarterback, so now you get in his pocket and you have that confidence, he has that confidence in you. Now, you know, there could be some big things happening, but I like the fact that, you know, we got new guys in there, fresh blood in there. No one's complacent about their position. So what that does, everybody's going to come, number one, to training camp ready, in shape, ready to go. Number two, they're going to come in ready to compete for a job, and knowing that none of their jobs are secure. And that's a good feeling for, that fear factor is a good feeling for, a motivating factor for football players.
I think what you're going to have this year is a pure offense.
Yeah,
the ball
thank
is
you.
going to go where the reads take him.
Thank you.
You're not going to have to force the ball like you did to Dez or to Witten. Dak's going to be able to go through his progressions and put the ball in the hands of the open man. And with 4 receivers, 5 receivers in pattern, there's going to be an open man. It's up to Dak to find him.
And I could take Coach Landry's playbook right now. I have to dust it off, you know, a little bit. But I could take it right now and implement that same offense he implemented way back then into today's system and make it effective. Because you're right, Rick, it has to be a read offense. If you're going out there breaking that huddle, knowing you're going to throw the football to one guy and you're going to force it in there, you know, you're going to have some big problems with your offense, and it's going to be stagnant, and you're not going to be able to move that offense. But if you come out with a not ready-made decision when you get to that line of scrimmage and you snap the ball, then you read and go to the open man, then your offense is going to be a lot more effective, and you're going to put a lot more pressure on the defense. And their preparation for you is going to take it to another level, because they can't just concentrate on one guy. We got to be looking for everybody in that offense. When the Cowboys break the huddle, 4 receivers, 3 receivers, 2 receivers, whatever it is, we got to look for what's coming, and not knowing what's coming, and not expecting what's coming, but being the element of surprise of what's coming, I think would make the offense a little more effective.
And that's the incentive for these receivers, knowing that they could be the guy on that particular play.
And quit loafing on the backside of routes and stuff like that. Right.
All 4 guys in the route know the ball could be coming my way, so that's incentive for them to run the best route they can.
Absolutely.
And catch the ball when it arrives.
Absolutely.
I'm interested in, Goose talked about Alvin Harper goes to Tampa, and I was in Tampa when he came and didn't live up to those expectations or the money. Well, we saw that from Terrence Williams. He had a chance a few years ago when Dez was hurt and didn't live up to being a number 1 receiver. We don't think he's that, even though the Cowboys gave him a contract last year. Now he's had the broken foot, didn't participate in the offseason workouts. What do you expect, and what do you want to see from Terrence Williams this year?
Whatever I see, I think might be a bonus. I'm not expecting anything. You know, I think this guy has tremendous ability. And it's just disappointing that he hasn't taken it to the next level and gotten better each and every year he's played in the NFL. And I think actually he's gotten worse than better, and he's playing in the NFL. And then the injury and other off-the-field situations happen. That plays into the equation as well. He's got to fight for a job, you know, and that might be a good thing. He might need that fire under him to get motivated. Maybe he felt a little complacent because of that contract you just talked about that he was able to get. But these guys, you know, they don't understand. You give me one of them, I want 2 or 3. You know, they get one, sometimes they get satisfied. If you think I'm worthy for one, then if I go out and do a little more, maybe I'm worthy for another one. And that's how you maximize your effort and your time in the NFL.
Well, he's got a lot to prove. Man,
Oh, he certainly does.
As a starting wide receiver in the NFL, how do you go an entire season without scoring a touchdown? How do you catch 53 balls as a starting wide receiver and not score a touchdown?
Yeah.
He's got a lot to prove going into summer.
He's got a lot to prove, and they also have to run plays that are conducive to him, the type of routes he runs. I don't want to see him running in routes, or even sideline routes. You got to run him on a post corner, deep routes, or something like that to take advantage of what he does best, because I don't see him as that receiver running that in route, coming over the middle, making that tough catch and things like that. So, but I think his season, his career might be on the line in this training camp. So if he can get healthy, he better get out there and show that he belongs on this team if he wants to stay on this team.
Dak Prescott and the Cowboys receivers did a pre-camp workout at Walt Disney World, and now they're in training camp ready to go. We come back, we're going to talk about the Hall of Fame, a little TO, and a little bit of why Drew thinks he's not in the Hall of Fame, and obviously he can't do anything to change that now, but how do we get him in the Hall of Fame?
School's over. What's next? Imagine a place where friendly faces say hello. You grab a healthy snack, have fun, and play a little. Imagine a place where you get lost in a book, get help with homework, or learn in the computer lab, where you create something cool. Kids take the stage, and you get some exercise. Imagine a safe place where you hang out with friends. Your voice matters, and someone's always there to listen. A place where you like spending the afternoon, and you can't wait to tell someone all about it. The club is a fun, positive, and safe place to grow. A place to become anything you dream. Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Welcome back to the franchise. We're here today with Drew Pearson, the legend, and we're going to talk about the Hall of Fame. And Terrell Owens is going to make history this weekend when he becomes the first player not to show up for his induction ceremony. Drew, I'm assuming that you'd show up if you got in the.
I'd walk. I'd just give me the directions. I'm there. No, I don't understand the decision. You know, I understand he might be a little upset about the process and thinking that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, which I think he is. His stats speak for itself. If you based everything just on the facts, you know, I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But, you know, when you start getting subjectivity into the process, then, you know, there's certain voters that didn't like T.O. and maybe were snubbed by him and don't care for him. So they didn't vote him in in the first ballot. But he eventually got in the third ballot, and you're looking at a guy that's been waiting, 30 years to get in, and I ain't complaining, and he gets in, and he complains. You know, so, but, you know, Michael Irvin kind of put it in perspective when he said, you know, this is a special class. If you turn your back on the Hall of Fame, you turn your back on us as well. And that's the thing. And the other thing is that, you know, this is a evergreen type honor. You know, this goes on forever. You know, it goes on way past your time here on this earth. Your kids live with this legacy. And if you want that to be part of it, then man, you're missing the whole point. What kind of message are you sending to your kids? What kind of message are you sending to the folks at Tennessee Chattanooga? You know, and why are we here today? Because you're snubbing the NFL Hall of Fame? You know, come on. So if I was Chattanooga, I wouldn't even want this negative publicity surrounding my campus and my student athletes. So I think it's a bad move by T.O., and like Michael said, I think it's something that he's going to regret down the road, and I agree with that.
You know, I think the deal is it's a bigger honor than T.O. This is not about T.O. This moment is a celebration of your career. It's about your family. It's about your friends. It's about your coaches. George Stewart has been a strong advocate of T.O. He was receiver coach of San Francisco. He was going to be Terrell Owens' presenter. He was going to get up on that stage and tell everyone that they're wrong. T.O. is a great guy, a great player. You've taken that.
That was the opportunity, yeah.
That was the opportunity, and that's. I think T.O. 20 years from now, I think we'll regret this. But I don't think he sees the big picture right now.
No, I don't think. He never sees the big picture. He always sees the immediate picture, and that's what he focuses in on. And remember, I'm the guy that signed him into the indoor football league, so maybe I could convince him to go to Canton and go get your award, man, and quit tripping like that, because it's not good for the Hall, you know. But they did the right thing. You know, they say, hey, if he's not going to be here, if he doesn't want to be here, then we're not going to be doing anything special to commemorate him not being here. And I don't think it's going to set any kind of precedent as far as others to follow in this direction. And I think anybody else that gets that call will be appreciative of it and accept everything that comes along with it.
You know, the point is, the reason it took him 3 years to get in, there were questions about him, his role as a teammate. He wasn't a good teammate.
Yeah.
And now he gets picked to the greatest team of all time, and he's still being a bad teammate.
I know, that's a good point.
It's insulting to the people
That's a good
that
point.
are there, that are wearing the gold jackets.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be there. It's not about Teal. This is bigger than you.
That's the greatest team of all time, too.
Goose, you're on the seniors committee, and I know you've pitched hard for Drew. Just talk about all his accomplishments and why he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and why maybe he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Well, over the last 8 decades, there have been 16 first-team all-decade wide receivers. 15 of them are in. Drew Pearson is the only first-team all-decade receiver not in the Hall of Fame, and he's never even been a finalist. Now, if I'm Drew, I'm saying, what did I do to tick people off? How did I slip through the cracks? I think first-team all-decade should be a rubber stamp to Canton. There are only 7 first-team all-decade players in history that aren't in. Drew's one of them. Cliff Harris is another. How these guys slip through the cracks, I don't know. I don't know if there was a Cowboy bias that went on in the 70s and 80s when these guys were finishing their careers. I can't explain that. I became the Dallas rep in 2001, and all I know is they dropped Drew and Cliff and Chuck Howley and Leroy Jordan in my lap and said, get all these guys in, and we get to bring out one a year.
Yeah.
And I got a list at home. I got 98 players on my list who
Wow.
deserve to be discussed.
Wow.
Not all of them are Hall of Famers, but they deserve to be discussed. This man, as a first-team all-decade player, is at the top of that list.
Yeah.
Drew, do you ever give up hope that you'll get in? Do you still have
Well, I'm
hope that one day-
67. You know, they better hurry up if it's going to happen, because you don't know how much longer I'm going to be blessed to be on this earth. So, but no, I never give up hope, because my stats, but the facts are there. And long as when somebody sees those and those are presented in the right platform, in the right situation, then maybe somebody will say, hey, you know, maybe it's about time that he does get in. But I'll never give up hope, because again, this is something that if you are blessed with this type of recognition, this goes on forever. You know, I'm not giving up hope, because this is something I want for my kids, I want for my family, I want for my teammates, I want for Roger, I want for everybody. And so it's more than just me. So I just can't give up hope. You know, someone asked me, Todd Archer, by the way, asked me in an interview, would the Hall of Fame be icing on your cake? You know, I've been eating icing for a long time as a former Dallas Cowboy, okay? 34 years. I'm leaving here and going doing another appearance, okay? So things keep rolling. So I don't know what I'm going to call it, but it's something I'm going to eat up for sure. That's for sure.
Maybe sprinkles on the
Yeah,
icing.
sprinkle or something, but it might not be the icing, but it might be the ice cream with the cake. It might be something, but it's going to go along with what I've been able to accomplish in my life after football so far.
So I'm hoping that the Hall will do something special for the 100th anniversary of football, and I'm hoping they can give us an amnesty class
Yeah.
of whatever number they want. 5, 10, 15, 20 seniors, and get rid of some of the backlog.
Yeah.
There's so many worthy players. And I firmly believe that you and Cliff and Chuck all should have been in Canton 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that there's some kind of amnesty class in the 100th anniversary that would take care of it, especially the first team.
Well, let me ask you guys, how does a guy like Cliff Harris, now he made a finalist, remember that one year, Bob Hayes, Cliff Harris, and Rayfield Wright, and then no one got in or something, maybe one, maybe it was Bob, but anyway,
No one got in.
but Cliff as a finalist, you know, then he doesn't even get mentioned anymore. Like Everson Walls as a finalist, is he ever going to get mentioned again and have another opportunity to get in that room and become a finalist again?
Cliff actually made the cut to 10 that year.
Yeah.
Now the problem is that was Cliff's last year of eligibility, and that was Everson's last year of eligibility.
Okay.
No, this was the 10th year, and you got 15 years left. Both those guys will be back in the room, and probably both are going to try. But the sad thing is, we waited forever to get them in the room one time. And
Yeah.
as strong as their cases were, they picked other players. They picked other players with stats.
Yeah.
Took the middle linebackers and the wide receivers this past year. Everson, I think, in another year might have been a Hall of Famer. But
Yeah.
it's all about timing. When you only get in the room one time, and it's your last time, it's a long road.
God's
Yeah,
good.
it's a process. You guys ever thought about making the process a little more transparent so that the fans can see the voting process like baseball kind of did this past season? They opened up their process a little bit, and now we could see if there are biases there or if they're not biases, then you have it right there in front of you where the fans can see, you know, why this guy didn't get in or, you know, that type of thing.
Would you
So-
want the discussion?
No, no.
Just see
Because-
the vote.
because no one
The
would-
vote.
No one, the vote.
Yeah, you can't see the discussion. That's a good point.
Right, no one would
You
talk.
know, I understand. Yeah, I understand. that. Yeah, I understand. But maybe the vote, you know, and that type of thing. And I don't know. But
Well, you know, they
I think that would make it a little better for guys like myself to find out reasons why we're not getting in, because we don't know. You know, every time I get turned down or I don't make a cut or whatever, I don't know the reasons why.
Yeah.
And then maybe I don't want to know the reasons why because you're going to say it's negative. Didn't Harry Carson go through that?
Yeah.
You know, he was disappointed. Every time he made it to the finalists, they said the reason he didn't get over the hump, then they brought up negative reasons. He said, well, my career is not a negative. Don't be talking about me in a negative way.
But there
Take me off the list.
but
And
there
next year he
weren't
got in.
There weren't negative reasons.
Yeah.
The problem is, here's the problem, and I don't care, you could have a committee based on all former players. You could take 48 Hall of Famers and make them the voting committee. The bottom line is, too many qualified candidates, too few spots. If 48 Hall of Famers pick 5 guys, maybe leaving 20 guys behind that people would be upset about.
Yeah.
It's an impossible process because there aren't enough. There are more teams and more starting positions in football than any other sport.
Right.
Yet the Hall of Fame class is the same as it is for hockey, for basketball, with lesser teams and 5 and 6 starters. It's an impossible task because there aren't enough spots. They could open up. I wish they'd give me 5 seniors every year.
Yeah.
I could clean up the backlog pretty good that way. And I wish they'd expand the class to put 10 in.
Well, let me say this. I know it's a tough process, okay? Because like you say, as I was saying, it's a lot of guys that are deserving, you know? They're deserving. And, you know, how do you dwindle it down? What's the criteria and stuff like that? So every year you go in that room, man, and you come out, you're going to come out, someone's going to be disappointed. And you know that going in, right? So that makes it even tougher for you guys to go through that process.
I pitched the Hall that if you're a first-team All-Decade player, your first year of eligibility, you get an automatic pass to the
You should
finals.
go in.
You need to be discussed.
Yeah.
If you're picked as one of the best players of your era, you deserve to be discussed in context with the best players of all time.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened. And
Well, you know,
they were
when I found out I was All-Decade, Harvey Martin made second-team All-Decade defensive end, and of course he never gets mentioned. But you know, when we found that out, we celebrated because we figured we're going into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
We celebrated at that time when we heard that news because we said, "Hey, we're in." You know,
It's usually pretty good
but
odds.
it usually
Yeah,
odds,
yeah.
but it didn't happen. But you know, you still can't take that recognition away from me as an All-Decade receiver.
Absolutely.
You know, and I pride myself in that. You know, especially in the 70s when you think of all these great receivers, a lot of them are in the Hall of Fame, you know, that I beat out for that honor. So that still gives me a lot of pride, because who votes on that?
That's the
It's
whole.
the same
That's the
people,
Hall of
that's right.
Fame.
Same
So
people vote for
it gives
both.
me a lot of pride, and I hang my hat. I got introduced the other day as a Hall of Famer. I said, you know something I don't know? So it's all good, though. It's all good.
Well, Drew, thanks for joining us today on The Franchise, and hopefully one day we'll see you in Canton.
And I hope so, too. Thank you.